Michael Patrick Shields, Michigan's Morning Show, Wednesday morning hump day. We'll get the full sports story coming up for you shortly, but I want to let you know Tiger Woods announced yesterday that he is skipping the U.S. Open, the former world number one. He's still recovering from a knee injury suffered at the Masters. He tried to play the Players' Championship, but he withdrew after 9 holes. He says he re-aggravated the injury, and the U.S. Open gets underway next week at Congressional Country Club near Washington, D.C. Michael Koernke, who has been to many of these venues and been around Tiger Woods, is the head professional at Canterbury Country Club, but spent most of his life here in Michigan at places like Bloomfield Hills Country Club and the Wescowan Players Club. And what is that fancy course up there in Harbor Springs where you spent so much time too, Michael?
Good morning, Michael Patrick.
How are you, sir? What is the name of that the course up there?
True North. We built that golf course up there at True North. I think Boeing owns it now or has something to do with it, but pretty cool place.
Yeah, and other places around the state you've been too. Your heart's here in Michigan, but your body's in Cleveland, and Tiger Woods' knee will not be in Washington, D.C., it turns out.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that he's probably in for challenges going forward because this seems to be some type of a chronic injury. Time will tell, but I think probably the best thing for him right now is to just go on the shelf and sit out. I mean, you have to sit out a year and see what will happen.
Isn't it tough to come back from, I mean, he's done this already once in his career where he had to sit out a year because of an injury. Now to do it again, I mean, there are plenty of examples of people who never got it back after being away from it. And do you think that can happen with him? Can he disappear from the radar forever because of this?
I'm not, well, I would shudder to think that he'd disappear forever because he has so much talent. But, it's certainly going to take some time for his life to get squared around, and certainly his injury is more serious than anybody's given thought. As he gets older, that's going to be more difficult. But, modern medicine is such. He goes and gets a knee replacement somewhere down the road. I mean, I'd hate to, he'd probably come out and win, 25 senior events. Who knows?
He's not interested in senior events, though. He wants to break Jack Nicklaus's major record.
But it does put, everybody that used to, 3 years ago said he will shatter Nicklaus's record. That certainly looks in jeopardy.
It sure does. And even though you see guys in their 40s like Steve Stricker and Vijay Singh to some degree going ahead and being very competitive, all of a sudden, look at these young bombers that are coming on from all over the world, and they get hot at a moment's notice. It doesn't seem like Tiger had that kind of competition, does it, when he was winning his majors?
I would agree with you. I don't think he did, and he also had an aura that only comes around once in a while. Nicklaus had it, and that was the old adage that Nicklaus knew that he would win, and he knew that everybody else knew that he would win, and he knew that they knew that he would win.
Yeah,
and that's what Tiger had. Nobody has that right now. That isn't to say that somebody else won't come out with it. One of these young guns, maybe. But somebody down the road will possess that again, I believe. I don't believe it'll ever be Tiger again. I think that time will have passed him. But to say he's not going to win again or say he won't win more majors, I just think he's got a real chronic injury here that is going to have to get taken care of somewhere along the way. But he's such a talented player. But it is exciting for the game. I mean, all these young guys, it's great. I mean, the Ricky Fowlers, the Rory McIlroys, these guys are great for the game. And, it just goes to show you that golf will survive without people like Tiger.
It'll have to for NBC next week at the U.S. Open. Seems like they put two of the major championships anyway in some pretty difficult places to play in the Washington, D.C. area. I mean, it was 90-some degrees here in Michigan, very humid yesterday. I can only imagine what that swamp's going to be like in Washington, D.C. And then you're going to play the PGA Championship in Atlanta in August. What are they doing to these guys?
Well, they're going to lose some pounds, just like you are and I are this last couple of days. But they certain great places they want to go back to. Congressional is a tremendous, got tremendous history, and and if you look at it nowadays, they're looking at a championship 10 and 12 years out at site. So it's and Atlanta Athletic Club, they've been pining to get a PGA back since David Toms won. And so, that'll happen, and it'll be hot, probably. And who knows what it could be in Washington, but
Yeah,
it'll be a great venue, though.
just ask Ken Venturi. He'll tell you all about being hot in Washington. And speaking of, you mentioned David Toms. There's another guy who was quiet for years, and then in his early 40s, out of the blue, goes absolutely wild 2 weeks in a row and plays like he's 18 years old.
Well, here's the skinny with this game. It's a lifelong game. I mean, that's why I've been in it as a PGA golf professional, instructing people and, teaching members how to play golf and kids how to play golf, because you can play it forever. The reality is that these guys that get to that level, that could win a major championship or compete on the tour on a regular basis, they got it. They'll always have it. It's just that they lose it for a while, just like you might lose it for a while, for a few weeks, and come back, and when you least expect it, have one of your best rounds ever, and you say, where did that come from? Well, it's in there, and the guys that do it for a living and the women that do it for a living, they get it out a little bit quicker than you and I, and it comes back. And it all really, so much on the tour comes down to getting the ball in the hole. I mean, David Toms said it. I mean, he said, for the last 4 years, he struggled so badly putting, and then all of a sudden things started to click, and, there it goes. Because they're all wonderful ball strikers. It's just, except for maybe some of the big bombers, if they can't keep it in the fairway, they're not going to shoot, a good number, even if they could putt. So.
Well, we're going to have a nice rivalry this summer between the Indians and the Tigers as we come down the stretch here. We're getting inching close to the midway point anyway, and so
isn't that exciting?
Yeah, nice to have a rumble on the lake like that. Michael Koernke is in Cleveland, Ohio, at the very esteemed Canterbury Country Club. Boy, he's had a career at some of the greatest clubs in America too. But his heart's here in Michigan, and we love talking to him. Say hi to everyone in Cleveland, and no Tiger Woods at the U.S. Open. Back in a flash.